is going on, y'all? There's an article, Cyperspectors Geofucks here. There's an article that's out that AP News, I believe, posted. I'll have the link in the description box below. I want to give a shout out to Trista and Breaking Chains podcast, because this is definitely something that speaks like volumes. Jesus, you know, my eyebrows are all over today, but this speaks volumes. So let's talk about it. So the article on AP basically was discussing how millennials and Gen Zers are weighing their options when it pertains to being parents and starting families and having kids. And it's across the board. It doesn't matter what race, what ethnicity, what gender identity, what sex, what class. People across the board are weighing their options, and a lot of it has to do with how society is currently. You know, a lot of people are looking at the fact that low wages, low pay, low salaries, people are living check to check. Why would somebody want to have children in that? And that is that's a logical question, and you see why people are making logical decisions and realizing, no, we're not going to create life in an environment where you've got poverty all over the place. You're not being paid living wages. How are you going to take care of a child when you can barely take care of yourself? People are looking at that, right? And do understand that poverty is a policy, okay? It is a political policy. You know, poverty is not something that's just made up. Again, how do they expect you to take care of yourself and a child, and they don't want to pay you a living wage, but they want you to procreate and have kids? That's why, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you're pro-choice. Yeah, I'm pro-choice. And quite frankly, I'm pro-abortion. Because you know something? I am a product of an unwanted pregnancy. And I'm sorry, but if we can avoid having kids that people don't want and can't take care of, and we have a society that doesn't even allow you to take care of your children in a healthy, functioning way because they literally have people living in poverty, I can get that. Then you got other people who are looking at the fact that the environment, we're living in climate change hell. I mean, you've got record-breaking heat waves on the East Coast, and we're just talking about the USA. Now, think about all the other countries, all the other continents, okay? All over the world, globally, climate change is happening. Poverty is happening, okay? I'm going to have links about what's going on in other countries and across the world. But obviously, most of my commentary is going to be based in the USA. But I do understand that this is a global problem. This is a global issue. So, you know, you look at the climate change. Like I said, on the East Coast of the USA right now, you've got heat waves. Then you've got whole lakes that are just drying up, and you got 7 states within the USA that they don't know where they're going to get their water from in the next few years. I mean, it's getting real out here, okay? Then you've got places down south like Texas where your electrical grid is literally about to fall apart. It's been falling apart for years. Okay? And then, mind you, that's an issue across the country, but like I'm highlighting certain states because the problem there is like magnified. Then you've got situations right now in Jackson, Mississippi, where once again, a predominantly black and brown community is without drinking water. They don't have access to safe, suitable drinking water. And it's been, what, 2 days? It's been 48 hours, basically. And let's not forget about what happened in Puerto Rico going on 5 years ago. Let's not forget what happened in New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina, 17 years ago. And, you know, all of this, you know, they're having to close schools. Now, this is what's crazy. I remember 5 years ago in 2017 when that hurricane hit, and just Puerto Rico is still recovering from that. People are still suffering and going without 5 years later. You know, back when President Trump was throwing paper towels at folks. And even now with the current president, you know, I mean, that's another thing that I get to is like the political sector. You know, you want to bring your children in a world where, you know, there might be a nuclear war, or you might get a tsunami or an earthquake or a hurricane and just wipe everybody away. Flooding is happening all over the place. You got all of these viruses that are popping up because of the climate change. In my opinion, it is because of the climate change. And then I also believe that some of this is also bio warfare, in my opinion. You know, that's my thought on it. But all this is happening. You got polio, you know, all these viruses that were once eradicated, you know, because people used to believe in science and actually understand that, you know, vaccines are a common good. But, you know, things have changed. And of course, it's my body, my choice, which, you know, I totally get. I agree. It's your body, it's your choice. And this is my body and this is my choice. Can't have it both ways. So I get it. People don't want to take the vaccine. People don't want to get vaccinated. People don't want their kids to get vaccinated. People don't want to wear masks. But you can see why people don't want to bring families and raise families in this chaotic mess. Okay. Then you've got the political side where, like I said, depending on your identity or who you are as a person and what makes you who you are, you may or may not be accepted in various parts across the state, across the country, across the world. So, you know, your access to rights may or may not exist, all because you are who you are. So do understand that as well. You know, if you're a person of color, you're black, you're brown, you're Hispanic, you're Latino, you're African American, you're Native American, you're indigenous, you're Puerto Rican, you're Japanese, you're Chinese, etc. You may or may not be receiving what you need. You're LGBTQ+, you're a woman, you're trans, you have a vagina, hey, you're intersex, hey, you may or may not have access. So you can see why, you know, people are kind of like, yep, I don't really think we're going to be procreating here. Not, at least not during this period. Right? And judging from the way things are, I'm just going to be honest, this is looking very bleak. It's looking very bleak. And I don't blame people for not wanting to have kids. That was my main reason for why I didn't want to have kids. Going back to the very first one, I was a product of an unwanted pregnancy. And when I say this, I love my mom, I love my granny, my papa, my uncle, my family, and may my people rest in peace. Because like I said, I've lost a lot of my family during this COVID pandemic, and it's scary every day. And they did the best that they could do, and I need to make sure that you understand that it wasn't all bad. Obviously, it was not all bad, but there were things that were very detrimental, and a lot of that could have been avoided by not forcing someone who wasn't ready to have a child in the first place, and making sure that the person who's going to be having a child is well taken care of and provided for. And when that child is here, that child is well taken care of and provided for, and when that child grows up and becomes an adult, they're also well taken care of and provided for. So maybe if they do decide to have a child, they will be able to have a child in a healthy environment where they're also going to be well taken care of and provided for. So that's my whole 2 cents on the matter. I am going to link that article in the description box below. Again, shout out to the Chain Breakers podcast talk show. Shout out to Trista. That is definitely something that I feel like more people need to discuss, is why people are choosing not to have children, and why people don't want kids, and why it's okay if you decide that you don't want kids. Everybody doesn't have to do the same thing.